If you have ever worked with clients in the past, this system helps turn those relationships into repeat business. The same logic can also be used to generate more referrals or get more Google reviews. Let's start building it together. Alright, so this system consists of two workflows. While the first one is optional, the second one is mandatory. Even though the first one is optional, I highly recommend you create it because it will make your life much easier. So the first node we will need is Tally. Tally is a free form that we are going to use in order to upload our list of past clients into it, which will also trigger our workflow. Okay, so search for Tally. If you don't have it installed, install it. Click on it, add to workflow, then create new credentials, go to Tally, create an account. Once you create an account, you will land on a dashboard similar to this one. Click on settings, go over API keys, create a new API key, go back to N8N, paste it here, and save, and voila, you have your connection set up with Tally. Then we go back to Tally, create a new form. On the new form, let's name it client reactivation. Press start from scratch, click on the plus, then search for file upload, click insert, then publish. That's pretty much it. Copy the URL, and let's paste it here. Then let's go back to our N8N workflow. Click here in order to refresh the page, double click on it, and you will find your client reactivation form. Okay. Before we move forward, let's first trigger our workflow and get all the variables we will need from Tally node. I have already created a file with ChatGPT with fake records just for the sake of demonstrating everything. So first, let's execute the workflow, go over the form, choose the file. In your case, it will be probably your actual file. So my name is client reactivation system. Press submit. Now the workflow was triggered. Next, we'll need an HTTP node. The reason why we need HTTP node, that's because Tally node provides us with the URL of the file. And in order to be able to process and use the data of that file, we will need to download it. That's why we need an HTTP request with method get, and the URL will be the following one. Okay, then go over add option and set the response to file. If you do not set the response format to file, you will not be able to process the data once you download the file with HTTP request. So next, press plus, search for extract from file, now from CSV, and okay. So I'm going to pin this one, and if you execute the workflow again, you see we have our 10 items. The next node we will need is edit fields. Edit fields in our case right now is primarily for safety. What do I mean by safety? In our use case right now, as you can see, first name is all lowercase with the underscore in between. You might be importing your past clients from different sources. One from a CRM, the other one from a website. You may have two CRMs. In this case, not all headers might have the same name. For example, in one site, you will have first name all lowercase. The other site might be capital case or Pascal case. And if you don't have a fallback expression, as I'm going to demonstrate right now, your system might break. So that's why we need a fallback expression. For example, I'm going to use email, and I'm going to use this expression. This means that if we have email like this, lowercase, it will accept it. If it doesn't have lowercase, it will check for the other one with capital case, and so on with a dash, capital case with a dash. We can include another one, for example, email address, and so on. Now I will pause the video, go over the first name, last name, and phone number quickly to not make this video too long. Then I will explain everything later on. Okay, now all the fields have their fallback expression. Just I'm going to demonstrate something real quick. As you can see, last name right now here is the last value in our fallback expression. If we remove, for example, the underscore, it will return undefined because the last name with all lowercase and underscore in between doesn't exist here. Last name doesn't have. That's why it will return undefined. That's the reason why we need a fallback expression in order to get the right value that we have in our column header. In order to continue with our workflow right now, we need a data table. Why we need data table? That's because you might have hundreds or probably thousands of past clients, and we cannot contact them all at once. That's why we need to store them on database in order to reach out to them like in a controlled manner regularly, probably in batch of 10 or 20 every day. Okay, so now what to do is click save just for safety. Click on personal, press on this little arrow, create table, and let's name it client reactivation reactivation, for example. Okay, before I continue, there is something that I would like to highlight, which I mentioned at the start of this video. At the beginning, I said that the first part is optional, and this is why. N8N provides us with the ability to import a CSV file directly to the data store, and you can do this. And in this case, the first part that we just built right now isn't really necessary. But in your case, you might don't want to every time import the CSV file and like map the headers and so on. Or you might want to delegate this task to a VA or a team member, and you don't want to provide them with N8N access to your account. That's why we create the first part. We provide them with tally form, and they just import the file there, and the system will take care of the rest. So, okay, now that we have named our workflow client reactivation, let's create. Okay, now let's build our data table. Let's call it first name, this one, last name, email, and phone number. We also want contacted, Boolean, and contact date, which is dates time. Now that we have our table ready, you might be wondering why I have created contacted and contact date columns. I'll be answering this on the second workflow. Okay, now that we are back to our workflow, click on the plus, search for data table, click on if row does not exist. Then choose your data table, any conditions, add condition, and search for email. But before we do that, let's trigger our workflow again to get the variables we need. Connect this one here, email, and we bring in here email. Then click on the plus again, search for data table, and insert row. Choose your table and let it map each column manually. But before we do that, let's execute the workflow again to get our variables. And let's bring in here first name, last name, email, and phone. Leave this contacted as it is right now, and contact date empty as well. This means whenever now you import a past client, it will check whether this past client already exists in database or not. Then if it doesn't exist, it will add it to the database. So we want to avoid duplication, and therefore we don't want to reach out to the same person twice. Okay, now let's build another workflow. Let's name this clients reactivation part 1. Okay. Before we move to the second part of the workflow, just real quick, if you have an idea that you would like to turn into a real system, you can reach out to me using the first link on the description. All right, back to the workflow. And now let's name this one client reactivation part 2. Okay, now click on the plus, go on the schedule, trigger interval, switch it to custom cron. I'm going to include a quick expression right now, then explain what this expression means. Okay, so for the minute, we will do 0, hour, 10, day of the month, star, and day of the week, 1 to 5. What this means? This means that our workflow will be triggered at 0 minute of 10 morning. Star means every day of the month, and the other star means every month. 1 to 5 means from Monday to Friday. If I include another number here or any variables here, means that we will take seconds into consideration, and we definitely don't want this. If you would like to learn more about cron expressions, click on this link and they will explain to you everything. It will look something like this, and there is everything you'll need to know about cron expression. Okay, now that we have our schedule trigger properly set up, click on the plus, search for data table again, get rows, and data table from select your table, add the condition, switch ID to contacted, and equals to is false. Don't click on return all, because this will get you all the contacts you have on your data table. You want to limit this to 5 or 10, depends on the number of time you want your workflow to be triggered, and I will give you quick tips later on. So in my case, I'll just limit it to 5. Then click on the plus again, loop over items, batch, leave it to 1. Okay, we want to delete this one as well, this one. Then click on the plus next to loop, search for email. Quick note on this one, If you have a Google Business email, select Gmail. If you have private SMTP, select send email. In my case, I have a private SMTP, therefore I'm going to send email and use this node. Okay, click on send email. From email, include your own email. Flows.com. Just real quick, from email, you cannot leave it as it is. Otherwise, whenever you send an email from N8N, the person receiving that email on your displayed name will see your actual email rather than your displayed name, and it will not look really beautiful. So to avoid this problem, include double quotation mark, then your actual name, space, and that's it. Now, whenever you send email from N8N, the person receiving that email will see your actual name on displayed name rather than your email. To email, okay, I'm going to show you something real quick, and yeah, okay. So you want to remove this one and execute the workflow. The workflow will be executed just fine, even though we set this up to 10. Why? Because on like testing phase, you can run it, you can trigger it, and it will be triggered just fine. But once you publish it, it will be triggered just at this time we set up in this expression. Okay, so we connect it again. Send email. To email, we bring this one. The subject line, you can use whatever you want. For the sake of this video, I'm going to use client reactivation again. We switch email format to text. I've already created a quick email, but you definitely can use whatever you want. So it is as follows. Hey, you were one of the amazing clients we had the pleasure to work with, and we genuinely love the results we achieved together. Right now, we are running exclusive 20% discount on our you named offer or service, and we would love to help you take your next project even further. This special offer is only available for a few days, scarcity. So I wanted to know if that's something you'd be interested in. Looking forward to teaming up again. Best and my name. That's it. And there is another thing. Click on add option, append N8N attribution, and you want to disable this. Otherwise, whenever you send the email from N8N, the person receiving email at the bottom of your email, they will see this email was sent by N8N or something like this, and you definitely don't want this. Then click on the plus, search for wait, and let's wait 5 minutes between each email. You definitely don't want to send all emails all at one time, because this is not a human behavior and you might get issues with your email provider. Then we connect this one with top over items, and we are fully done. For those who would like to reach out to their past clients, not only via email, but also via SMS, simply come here, click on the plus, search for Twilio, click Twilio, send SMS. Then, if you have never used Twilio, you will have to create an account. So go to Twilio. I already have the tab ready. Create an account. Once you create an account, you will land on a dashboard similar to this one. Simply scroll down. You will find account seed and authentication token. Copy both of them. Go back to your N8N workflow. Click create new credentials. Paste your account seed, authentication token, save, and the connection will be established. Then you will need a phone number. So go back to your Twilio account. Click on phone numbers, manage, active number. If you don't have a phone number, click on buy a number. Once you buy a number, it will appear here. Simply copy it, go back to your N8N workflow, paste it here on from. Okay, and for 2, we will need to get it from the variables here. Okay, so we have now the variables. Bring in the phone number variable. As for the message, you can type whatever you want. You can create a version similar to the email we have prepared earlier. Now let's test the workflow. But in order to test the workflow, I cannot use the data here because this is fake data. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove all this and add new row, first name. This time I'm going to use mine, and I'm going to use one of my personal Gmail accounts. For the phone number, I will leave it empty, and this I will turn it into false rather than empty. Okay, now let's trigger our workflow again, but I don't want to send SMS because I didn't include my phone number. Okay, if we execute the workflow, you will see it will send an email. Now let's open my Gmail, and as you can see, we have received now an email coming from my other email, and this is the script we have used earlier. Now there are 2 things left for us to do before we finish this workflow. The first one is about updating the data table. So you want to type in data table, search for update row, then choose your table, add the condition, email equal to, you want to get the value from loop over items, so equal to email. Then you want to update the contacted field. You want to turn it into true. Then for contact date, you want to turn it into expression and use the following variable now. So right now, whenever your workflow is triggered, the record on your data table will be switched into contacted along with the contact date. So in case you want to create in the future an agent to follow up with your past clients, you can easily do so. However, before we close the update row node, you want to update your phone number with the variable as well. Why? Because we cannot send empty phone number value like this, because the field is a number. And if you don't populate it with a variable, it will always send the number 0, even if the record on your data table already have a phone number. So you want to go to your loop over items and bring in the phone number here again. Okay, so now we can exit this one. And before we finish, there is another thing left for us to do. Okay, so if you remember on get rows, we have a limit of 5. This means whenever our workflow is triggered, there will be 5 records that will be pulled out, and therefore our workflow will send 5 emails. But what if you want to send 10 or probably 20 emails? Then you have 2 options in this case. You can increase the limit to 10 or 20 and increase maybe the wait time, the interval to 7 or 10 minutes as you wish, or you can leave it 5 or 6 and then go to schedule trigger, and on 10 morning you can add 11 and maybe 3 afternoon as well. What this means? This means that our workflow right now will not only be triggered 1 time per day at 10 morning, but it will be triggered 3 times per day. This means once at 10 morning, the second one at 11 morning, and the third one at 3 afternoon. You can add additional times where you want your workflow to be triggered at. So you can balance things up between the schedule trigger and the get rows as well. And this is where our video comes to its end. I hope you guys have found value on this video. If you did, please don't forget to subscribe, drop the thumbs up. And if you have questions about this workflow or N8N in general, don't hesitate in dropping a comment and I will try to respond as soon as I can. See you on the next video. Bye.